Episode 56 HY August 27, 2023. Handing out flyers from a table at the farmer's market. Working from home in the midst of a pandemic has allowed a few hours more time to find news, and edit and publish excerpts about wood-burning emissions. It allowed time to think about solutions, and to think about arguments for having governments regulate indoor residential wood stoves with the final aim of shutting down wood burning entirely. Focusing narrowly on indoor residential wood stoves seemed the best course, but biomass, wood burning, plants PM 2.5 and CO2 emissions, and especially since this summer, wood burning wildfires out of control all over the world, influence how wood burning is viewed and handled by governments. Toleration of indoor residential wood burning and taxpayer subsidies for wood burning industrial plants are government policies that go hand in hand, and both practices must stop. Biomass, wood burning, plants PM 2.5 and CO2 emissions are greater than those of the fossil fuel coal plants that wood burning replaced. Scientists object to the political concept of carbon neutrality of wood burning, since the scientific facts are that wood burning emits more particulates and more CO2 than coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the particulates as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Now we can point to low-cost solar, wind and geothermal energy alternatives, a smart electric grid, and for indoor residential heating, heat pumps that work at 40 degrees below Fahrenheit, also work as air conditioners, lower monthly energy bills, and are often subsidized by the government. Indoor residential wood burning is intolerable, not because near neighbors of indoor wood burners are overly sensitive, but because, although human, near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners act as canaries in a coal mine with their four senses telling them that wood smoke may kill them, and that wood smoke must stop. A canary mutely falling over signified to miners that the coal dust or smoke in the cave will kill them too if the miners don't get out of the cave full of coal dust or smoke, or if the coal smoke or dust doesn't stop. The cave is the world, and the miners are everyone in the world except the canary. 90% of wood-burning pollution is the form of PM 2.5 particulates of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Indoor residential wood burning is hyperlocalized, so PM 2.5 monitors in the yards of near neighbors are needed to pinpoint the source of pollution and collect data to prove that the PM 2.5 pollution is happening above even EPA NOx limits of 35 micrograms per cubic meter and is entering the yards of near neighbors and infiltrating their homes, requiring the continual use of air purifiers and sealing of homes against the smoke that robs near neighbors of breath. The natural human defensive impulse is to flee a house fire, and house fires more often first kill their victims by smoke inhalation than immolation. We can't all flee from planet Earth, however, so we are all in this together. The pandemic has waned, and a farmer's market table is outdoors, so I have been handing out flyers at the farmer's market. The conversations with people in person have also been illuminating. I'm getting a lot of thanks, because I make the link with stopping the wildfire smoke that everyone is experiencing now. Indoor residential wood burning has to remain the focus, because that is something that can make an immediate positive difference. When I point out I bought and own one of the PM 2.5 monitor that people consult when they look at an AirNow map, when they are concerned about wood smoke and how they should go about their day to avoid it, they can see there aren't enough PM 2.5 monitors around yet. Those who understand that wood smoke can rob a person of breath sometimes think that if I solve my own problem with my own neighbor, the rest of the world can keep burning wood with no repercussions. It seems that most don't know that wood burning has replaced coal burning in industrial plants, for the reason that wood burning's emissions are not counted toward any country in the world's climate goals. So if coal is eliminated as a fuel, the climate goals of a country are closer to being met, through reduction of coal burning PM 2.5, which coal burning reduction is counted. But if coal is replaced by wood burning, then real PM 2.5 and CO2 continues to be emitted, only now at higher levels, but emissions from wood burning are not counted toward climate goals. Wood burning emissions are swept under the rug, but they are real, and they are harmful to health and hasten climate change. Do people only retain information that is told to them in person, one by one? Hopefully they also learn things from the internet, although learning that you are unnecessarily exposed to life-threatening pollution is a jolt that understandably most people would like to forget. Finding solutions is the way to engage people and help people find a way to do something themselves. Writing letters to the Dr. Jean Marazzo, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, may be one way, to ask that there be a parallel track of government intervention. 1. continue the ineffective wood stove certification program, NSPS, at the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and concurrently, on a parallel track to start a complaint-based process of regulating and then shutting down wood stoves that violate the EPA's own national ambient air quality standards of 35 micrograms per cubic meter, using Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors in the yards of near neighbors who complain to their health department of PM 2.5 entering their yards and infiltrating their homes, a complaint program administered either by the EPA or the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and NIAID, based on the scientific fact that PM 2.5 pollution is linked to antibiotic resistance, which makes health complications. Virus pandemics like COVID-19, often followed by bacterial infections, will be less controllable in the presence of PM 2.5 at polluting levels. DIY, do-it-yourself. Portable table B0CB61XP5 and chair B073XDCQ4M can be found at Amazon.com. Tips for printing flyers with an EcoTank printer and sublimation ink, which is much cheaper than printing in color with an ordinary printer. An EcoTank with sublimation ink can also be used for printing on bags, puzzles and t-shirts. Tips for affording to print colored flyers: buy an EcoTank 2800 printer B096N8DN2H at Amazon.com, and of course printer paper B06XRMJPJC at Amazon.com and a paper cutter B0986VP818 at Amazon.com, and remember to use only sublimation ink B09KCDP6F1 at Amazon.com. Do not use the ink that comes with the EcoTank printer, which is not sublimation ink, from the very beginning of printing on that EcoTank printer. Sublimation ink for EcoTank 2800 is cheap compared to traditional ink cartridges, and save money on colored ink. Dedicate your EcoTank from the very beginning to sublimation ink only, and, in addition to flyers, you need sublimation paper B08YWBF3NG at Amazon.com to transfer the images to bags, puzzles and t-shirts, as well as a heat press and a heat press B08HLST41G at Amazon. Then you can use your EcoTank to print on canvas bags B0C1P2BJGV at Amazon.com, jigsaw puzzles B091CMVRRF at Amazon.com, and t-shirts B0C8JQ37Q2 at Amazon.com. It is also helpful to have a t-shirt ruler B09KZN37JW at Amazon.com. Rozep's editor makes a succinct argument below. Please copy and paste into your own email to 13 Assistant Attorney Generals and to Dr. Gene Marazzo, the new Director of NIAID, succeeding Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Hugh Auchincloss of NIH and Dr. Lawrence Tabak, Director of NIH. Dear Assistant Attorney General, attached is a letter I sent to National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, Director Dr. Gene Marazzo, former acting NIAID Director Dr. Hugh Auchincloss, and National Institutes of Health, NIH, Director Dr. Lawrence Tabak regarding regulation and potential shutdown of PM 2.5 polluting indoor residential wood burners. The letter asks Dr. Gene Marazzo to apply a parallel track in 2023 to indoor residential wood burning pollution, allowing a parallel track of both EPA wood stove certification, which is known to be ineffective in controlling PM 2.5 pollution, which is known to cause antibiotic resistance, which makes pandemics of infectious disease more likely and uncontrollable, alongside a complaint-based system based on Purple Air PM 2.5 monitor data from the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Gene Marazzo's predecessor at NIAID, in 1989, allowed a parallel track of both Food and Drug Administration, FDA, use of AZT following clinical trials rules of use of that one AIDS drug which had a side effect of blindness, alongside allowing use of a second drug during a clinical trial, ganciclovir, which cured the blindness that was a side effect of AZT. I previously sent you a letter asking for you to include in your suit against the EPA, a suit that will commence if the EPA does not reply by August 24, 2023, and ask for a complaint-based system of regulating indoor residential wood burning, using data from Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors in the yards of near neighbors who complain of PM 2.5 from hyperlocalized indoor residential wood burners, even and especially those indoor residential wood burners which are already ineffectually certified by the EPA, that violate the EPA's own national ambient air quality standards, NOx, emission limits of 35 micrograms per cubic meter in a 24-hour period. Currently, if a near neighbor's complaint is made to a local health department, a complaint using federal NOx exceedance data is not considered as a basis for a complaint against neighboring indoor residential wood burning, nor a basis for shutting down the wood burning appliance if the indoor residential wood stove is federally EPA certified. Lawsuits for nuisance are expensive and beyond the means of the average American, and not considered precedents in courts, generally. Contacting state agencies or other means of shutting down polluting wood stove use affecting the health and lives of near neighbors are not effective because decisions made by the EPA affect the decisions of state agencies. Although the scope of your lawsuit seems confined to asking the EPA to continue their wood stove certification program as is, only at a faster pace, consider the intent that should be behind asking the EPA to tighten their standards for wood stove certification on a regular basis. The intent of an environmental protection agency is to protect the environment, perhaps narrowly construed to be protecting air, water and ground from contamination from industries. But people who live in the United States should actually benefit from the environment being protected, even if getting the EPA to act quickly to continue as they have been acting, only incrementally changing, is the narrow aim of this lawsuit. Tightening wood stove standards on a regular basis should have the result of protecting the environment, as well as protecting the people of the United States from harm from the air, water, and ground if contaminated, and protect the world from hastening of climate change. That is a broad scope, but by contacting NIAID I am pointing out that the EPA's responsibilities are intertwined with public health responsibilities of other government agencies such as NIAID. Please try to accomplish something for the American people with this lawsuit, as well as keeping our air, water, and ground theoretically pristine. As a state administrator, you may think that, taking a narrow focus, I am not your constituent, but by commencing to sue a federal agency, you are representing me as a citizen of the United States and as your constituent. Thank you. Sent to Cody.Doig@alaska.gov Alaska Senior Assistant Attorney General Cody Doig. Jason.James@ilag.gov Illinois Assistant Attorney General Jason James. Goldstein@oag.state.md.us Maryland Special Assistant Attorney General Stephen Goldstein. Turner.Smith@mass.gov Massachusetts Assistant Attorney General Turner Smith. Peter.Serdo@ag.state.mn.us Minnesota Special Assistant Attorney General Peter Serdo. Lisa.Morelli@law.njoag.gov New Jersey Deputy Attorney General Lisa Morelli. Nicholas.Batino@ag.newyork.gov New York Assistant Attorney General Nicholas Batino. Paul.Garahan@doj.state.or.us Oregon Attorney in Charge Paul Garahan. Steve.Novick@doj.state.or.us Oregon Special Assistant Attorney General Steve Novick. Nick.Persampieri@vermont.gov Vermont Assistant Attorney General Nick Persampieri. Caroline.Kress@atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Caroline Kress. Chris.Reitz@atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Chris Reitz. Jennifer.Cleanair.gov General Counsel, Puget Sound Clean Air Agency Jennifer A. Dold. Jean.Morazzo@nih.gov Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Jean Morazzo. Hugh.Auchincloss@nih.gov January to July 2023 Acting Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Hugh Auchincloss. Lawrence.Tabak@nih.gov Director of the National Institutes of Health Lawrence Tabak. https://RAC President Testword Pre-SSCOM/ Please attach PDF letter to NIAID Director Dr. Jean Morazzo to an email from you to Jean Morazzo NIH.gov/ Episode 56 GF July 19, 2023. The Ask, request a complaint-based system from 10 attorney generals suing the EPA to give wood stove users certainty. The Ask, emails of 3 NIH officials Jean.Morazzo@nih.gov, Hugh.Auchincloss@nih.gov, Lawrence.Tabak@nih.gov emails of 13 Assistant Attorney Generals, Deputy Attorney Generals and General Counsel preparing to sue the EPA to provide clarity for indoor residential wood stove manufacturers, vendors, and users. Instead, the Assistant Attorneys General should ask for a PM 2.5 pollution complaint-based system in place of the failed wood stove certification program. The states involved are Alaska, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, as well as the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. A new icon has been added to the RAWSC President's website, which is now the nearest right icon. The icon is an ask that has already been described in episode 56 GB, description of the parties who should be at the table when deciding on safe wood stove emission limits and fence line measurements, rather than wood stove certification, and emails to contact 10 deputy or assistant attorney generals and 1 general counsel. Those PDFs are included at the icon link. Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, see https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com and click on the nearest right icon for the Ask 1. Email PDF letters to 3 officials of the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and NIID https://rossipresidenteswordpress.com/ please attach PDF letter to NIID Director Dr. Jean Marazzo to an email from you to Jean Marazzo NIH the Ask 2. Email PDF letters to 13 Assistant Attorneys Generals, Deputy Attorney Generals and General Counsel https:// rossipresidenteswordpress.com/ please contact Attorneys General about August suit versus CPA asking for certainty for wood stove users. ROSSEP asks for complaint-based situm based on PM monitor data exceeding EP/ to the right of that 3. Barbie goes to the dating game https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-Barbie-goes-to-the-dating-game to the right of that 4. Cookies that may contain rocks are recalled https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/cookies-that-may-contain-rocks-are- recalled/ to the right of that 5. The Fox Owns the Forest card game https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/the-fox-owns-the-forest-card-game-tba then to the right of that, the latest months, 6, August and 7, July 2023, of PDFs of articles with URLs to search on https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-August-2023-PDFs-of-URLs and https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-July-2023-PDFs-of-URLs to the right of that, 8. Stickers to hand out for ROSSEP, games such as 9A, Bingo for ROSSEP, 9B. Crosswords for ROSSEP 9C, PM 2.5's Jeopardy free game https://u2.be/lnsg32pydnc 9D, PM 2.5 free Monopoly https://u2.be/cuck1pscqnq and Endwood Smoke Monopoly 9E, vending machines for PM 2.5 monitors, and 10. Icon links to 30-minute YouTube videos and Spotify podcasts as well as podcasts.google.com, Castbox and Pocket Cast. Pocket Cast is only free on the phone app. Pocket Cast works on Apple phones, and, below those icons, icon links to monthly URLs of PDFs from June 2023 to May 2022.